In order to make his elderly grandmother feel warm, John went to the mall and stole a heater. Unexpectedly, he was sent to court by his own brother. Since John was not yet an adult, he was sent to a juvenile detention center. However, John escaped from the detention center because of a dog. The dog was named Mignon. It was John's only friend in the detention center. However, Mignon was adopted a few days ago. When John found out, he was very angry. He decided to escape from the detention center to find Mignon. When his brother learned of John's escape, he was furious. He searched everywhere for John, but he couldn't find him. So he went to their grandmother's hospital room and asked her about John's whereabouts. At that moment, he suddenly noticed a pair of slippers under the bed. He loudly ordered John to come out. Sure enough, John crawled out from under the bed. His brother firmly demanded that he return to the detention center immediately and warned him that he would turn 18 in a few days. If he didn't change, he might end up in prison. However, John refused to go back. He insisted on taking their grandmother to find Mignon. His brother was very angry. He couldn't understand why John was so determined to find a dog, but seeing John's firm attitude, his brother compromised. However, at that moment, John said their grandmother was seriously ill. He had to take their grandmother along, otherwise she would be very scared alone. Seeing their weak grandmother, his brother agreed. They packed portable medical equipment and helped their grandmother onto the RV. Then they began their journey to find the dog. Their first stop was the local shelter. John leaned against the fence and whistled. A group of dogs excitedly ran toward him. He carefully looked around, but he didn't see Mignon among them. Helplessly, they had to leave. On the journey, they stopped at a gas station to refuel the RV. However, after refueling, his brother realized he had forgotten his wallet. He explained the situation to the station manager and begged for time to go back and get the money. The manager agreed, but when his brother returned to the car, he was shocked to see extra food and luggage in the vehicle. However, John calmly admitted that he had stolen them. His brother was furious, but they still had to continue their journey. So his brother had to suppress his anger and take John away from the gas station. On the way, he kept trying to teach his brother what was right and wrong. The next morning, John carefully fed his grandmother her medicine and combed her hair. Then they continued their journey. This time they arrived at an abandoned parking lot. John saw a dog that liked to sleep on cars. Unfortunately, it was still not Mignon. Just as they returned to the car in disappointment, they unexpectedly found that their grandmother's condition was worsening. She could pass away at any moment. The brothers had no choice but to drive back home overnight. They invited the local pastor to perform a baptism for their grandmother, planning to bury her alongside their grandfather. However, when they arrived at their grandfather's grave, they were stunned by what they saw.